Howdy folks, and welcome to the final video of the visit that we undertook to Wargaming's global headquarters in Cyprus. And in this video we'll be meeting with Viktor Kislyi, Wargaming's Chief Executive Officer. Also present at the meeting, as well as various EU community contributors, were Markus Schill, Wargaming EU's Managing Director, and Florian Mentl, Wargaming's Head of Community Relations. A couple of things you do need to bear in mind before watching this video. Viktor Kislyi is Wargaming's Chief Executive Officer. He's no longer an active games developer. He started off as a games developer when World of Tanks was in its infancy, and he was a games developer for a long time, but nowadays he's the manager of Wargaming, although he is taking a more active role in the development side of things lately. However, you shouldn't expect the same kind of technical discussion about the nuts and bolts of World of Tanks as you got in the discussions with Slava Lushnia. With Viktor, it's all more about the management and philosophy of Wargaming as a whole. So, bearing that in mind, I do hope you enjoy this discussion with Viktor Kislyi, detailing Wargaming's successes, their failures, where they came from, what they've been doing, and where they hope to be in the future.
So the idea is actually to just have a conversation to kind of give us a little bit of a reflection of what your perception is of the state of the game in Europe right now, how your community see it, how you see the game, and then also if you have any questions for Viktor, and he can share a little bit of our vision for 2016 for the game, how we are going to evolve. So that's really the setting. So it's quite an informal, open discussion, not nothing hard on question answer thing. Well, if you want to go that way, you can.
I think this is a good. Thank you, Markus. This is a good idea. Maybe to start with, let's say, kind of questions to ignite the discussion. Yeah. And if some things will not be covered by the questions, I have some things to say as well, and I will be from time to time derailing the Q&A into more of a monologue, kind of information giving of what I feel needs to be said.
Great. Okay. So, for me, the first question that I'm having for you guys to tell Viktor, that's the easy one, my starter question that I already had earlier today. How is the game doing right now? What are the biggest problems that you are seeing that you want to throw at us?
Well, the community is still very passionate about the game. I mean, I don't just do World of Tanks videos. I do Armored Warfare, I do World of Warships, I do some War Thunder content. Not nearly as much as I used to because it's terrible. But anytime I don't put a World of Tanks video up, the number one comment in the video is always, "Where's the World of Tanks video?" They just cannot get enough World of Tanks content. Having said that, as we mentioned to Markus earlier, certainly from my subscribers, the number one, because most of the World of Tanks videos that I've been doing lately have been premium tank videos, the Patton KR and various tanks like that. And usually the Paris office doesn't know how much it's going to be on sale for because they haven't finalised the pricing and packages yet. So they can't tell me. But what usually happens is on the EU server, and this is probably the single biggest complaint that I see in my videos, is the bundles that the tanks are packaged with. They have no option to just buy the tank. You have to buy the tank and gold and premium time and whatever consumables come with the package. And obviously while the value for money that you get out of that package is pretty good because you're getting a good deal on the gold and you're getting a good deal on the premium time, as Markus pointed out when we asked this question earlier, the economies aren't the same all across Europe. You've got one gift shop for Europe, and while somebody in the UK or Germany or France might be able to spend €50 on a premium tank bundle, somebody in Croatia can't because that's just too much money for them. Whereas if the tank itself was available, they might be able to afford that. So you tend to get the kind of bundles on the EU server where it's everything or nothing. Whereas on the Russian server you can just buy the tank or you can buy the bundle because of the economic situation in Russia. If you just get the bundle available, a lot of people wouldn't be able to buy it. When you have that in Europe as well, just not in every country in Europe. If the option was available to just buy the tank, a lot of people, well, and I don't have numbers on this because obviously I don't run any kind of statistical analysis, but that's the number one complaint. Every time I do a premium tank review video, why do we have to pay €50 to get a tank and a whole bunch of things that we can't afford? And so they can't afford to buy the tank.
It's something that's only happened in the last 4 months as well. Every single time before that, the vehicle was always available for as an individual product. So pretty much your new content in the game was always available to purchase by itself without having to purchase gold or purchase premium time. Then 4 months ago, I think the first one was it the M56 Scorpion? Maybe. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Let's say 4 months ago, the first tank was the M56 Scorpion, which was the first bundle. So it came with a lot of gold and lots of premium time. And immediately some people said, okay, but hopefully this won't happen again. And then it was the type 15, the 59 pattern, right?
Yes.
So the 59 pattern comes out,
Yeah,
and it's the same thing again, the bundle. And then I started to see comments saying, I'm a tank collector. I've purchased every single one of your releases, and then now I'm not going to purchase this one because I'm not going to spend another $50 this month on a tank because I don't need the 30 days premium time. I don't need the 7,000 gold that comes with it that inflates the price. And so it's obviously like, I can't think of another large MMO that sort of bundles brand new content. It's always usually available separately, so that's very unpopular when things are bundled in.
I think one of the other things was that you're familiar with it. I think you actually used the term in MMO gaming, different types of customers that you have. And you've got the whales, that they refer to them as, who will always buy every new piece of content that you put out. And people on the EU are starting to feel a bit resentful that they're being treated as the whales of the wargaming market. Because they only seem to be getting although they didn't recently, was it the Pattern KR was available just as the tank?
Yeah.
Yes.
And the echo was very positive.
Yes.
Bundle is still available until day 8, I think.
Yeah.
Markus, you have to help me on this one.
It's already addressed. I just wanted them to also give the chance to actually voice that concern, because it's one of the biggest that we had in the European community. So the way that we are going to address it is actually, and the Pattern KR is already the first example, was actually the second example that was run as a test. We are going to switch to a mode where we offer new content, both bundled and unbundled at the same time for the same duration. So that gives people the chance to either say, okay, I just want to have the tank.
So will we, you have to understand, gentlemen, this is, let's say, operational topic. I do not necessarily know, I'm sorry for that, like every little detail of those little copies, of those tricks. So Markus, can you give precise information, please, of what is going to be happening in Europe in this regard? Yes,
so I already told these guys earlier today, because we had a longer session on this, and we also split it up actually in parts that were actually mostly operational publishing side and then development side. So we talked a little bit about this topic, a couple of other topics that are publishing related, and then also regarding development more with Slava. So I just wanted, because it is actually probably when you look at World of Tanks as a whole community, then there's different clusters that have different problems or different stages of the development of the community. So in Europe we have in a different state towards game feedback than we are in Russia, than we are in the United States. It has also to do with the saturation of the population that we have reached already. So this is one of the biggest concerns in Europe, and this is actually why I wanted them to. That's why I asked the question so openly, because it is actually the single biggest complaint that we're getting. It's not artillery, even though we also get artillery. It's not matchmaking, even though we also get matchmaking, and we're going to go into those now. But this is the biggest one, and I think we have found a way to address it. It's by simply doing exactly what we did with the 59, the Pattern KR, is offering both the tank, singularly just by the tank, or if you want a package, we're gonna make that package more attractive. So we still want people who want to spend more money and want to speed up their process. We're going to find ways to add value to the packages that makes it worthwhile for people who want to spend more money to get that. But we don't want to just have those packages, but have both.
One of the issues also, a slightly more minor issue, was that those packages were good value for money, but that wasn't obvious.
Yeah.
It was like you get this much gold, which is at a 30% discount, and you get this much premium time, which is at a 20% discount. But unless you actually went and looked and compared the prices of, and then said, okay, that tank is worth this much, so we'll take that away, you had to actually try to figure out yourself how much value for money you were getting out of the package.
Now this is a good example, because it's as I said, we already got this feedback before our session, but it's the biggest feedback that we have done. This is why we started this the first test already in November with the separate packages, the second one in December, and now from actually probably not January. All the packages for most of the packages for January are already done, but from February onwards, and I think there's 2 packages in January which are bundled. But going forward, we're changing that strategy to always have both options available. Now we have to make sure that the more valuable package also has more value,
Yes.
and has some unique value to it, so that it is actually attractive to purchase. And it's probably not just going to be a discount. We discussed this morning X5 missions attached to it. Crew, I got some interesting feedback from you that might actually change my position on that. So that's good of having these discussions with you guys. The one thing that I can tell you is that a lot of people know the value. So that's something that you don't get in because most people that purchase something don't necessarily say how awesome it was. You get a lot of people who say I can't afford that, or and this is simply because in Europe we don't have one level of disposable income. The disposable income per capita is vastly different between Eastern Europe, Western Europe, Southern Europe. So we get a lot of very loud complaints when something like this happens, but we also get a very large amount of people who actually want to purchase it.
Yeah.
And even if we offer both packages, it still makes a lot of, we get actually more people buying the high price packages than the low price packages. But this, you don't see that obviously because we don't publish these numbers.
Yeah.
But this concern is basically addressed,
Okay.
heard and fixed.
Really?
You can do yes.
Seriously?
Yes.
That's true, right? At least verbally.
Yeah. It looks like
Happy players in Europe.
Yeah.
Markus, this is on camera.
Yes.
Okay.
Hello.
Next time they'll have to find something else to complain. Okay. It'll be artillery.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, let's move to the game itself. So, what do you think of the state of the game? Where do you currently see things that are great, things that are not great, and what is your thought process right now on the state of the game?
I think one of the reasons why water tanks are so popular is because it's turn on, turn off. People can log in, they can choose how long they want to play for. They don't feel like they're committed to investing. It's their choice. They can go and spend a huge amount of time playing water tanks, but it's turn on, turn off entertainment. So you can fit that into a more busy lifestyle, or you can fit that into also a lifestyle when you're a very hardcore gamer and you can play it a lot. So that's definitely one of the best things about water tanks right now. But for the negatives, the 2 things that really do come out are some people don't like the way that certain tanks balance into the matchmaker, and then the other big thing is that artillery is a rather hot topic in the game, to say it mildly. And then the other thing would be balancing in the premium features in the game to, as I think you said it, to be never pay to win, but free to win, I think is the term. Is that the term you still use?
Yes, this refers to the possibility to buy golden shells with
Credits.
credits.
You learn by playing.
Yeah, exactly. So
Which is
free to
pissing off big time the paying users.
win. Yeah.
Because right now, a schoolboy can just go ahead and buy this. I play mouse, and everybody can potentially penetrate me. Well, I play for fun, so I'm not pissed off per se, but paying users like, wait a minute, now my mouse is nothing.
Yeah. So while you so do you think that that's just an aspect, the premium rounds are an aspect that need to be nerfed? What's your opinion on the premium rounds? Obviously, it's difficult because it's how you monetize the game, right? To have like a premium account to be able to accelerate your progress, but also to be able to afford luxuries in the game such as premium consumables and premium ammunition. But the premium ammunition is now ruining not ruining, but it's affecting your enjoyment of playing certain tanks such as the mouse, which rely on their armor, and there's just an easy tool, i.e. pressing your 2 key sometimes, to be able to totally negate the advantage that another player would have.
This is, of course, the bigger issue of the whole balance. Let's be realistic. 5 years ago, 4 years ago, the game was totally new. There was nothing like this, and there was no one playing this game more than a year, right? And there were 100 something tanks only, and you could memorize them. Like right now, I don't know all the tanks. You give me some tier 8 tank, and I'm like, what? Sometimes I see some tanks on the battlefield, and I don't know what they are, what nation they are. It's it's a historical, let's say, cumulative problem. What we can say today for sure is yes, the game needs rebalance. And it's not easy. It needs rebalancing of, certain characteristics, yes. Premium tanks, yes. The role of certain classes, like artillery. Maps, yes. Certain game mechanics, like penetration, etc. Physics. Because since the beginning we released something like 65 updates. Okay, not all of them were great. However, it's a living organism. After almost 6 years, if you count Russian open beta live, a lot of things changed in the game. By the way, someone like myself who started playing from the first day are 5.5 years older now. People have kids, they have played whatever, 30,000, 13, 15,000, 20,000 battles, and for them World of Tanks is like, they know it better than I don't know, Shakespeare, right, or something which they used to know better. And it's a different world. We are pleased to say, and I'm really proud of what we have done in this sense, this kind of ecosystem, or I can say cultural phenomenon, with this history and this position in Russian society, brings additional problems and challenges, right? As I say, think of TV series. There's not so many TV series which run for 10 years. There's, Friends, Family Guy, there's like Simpsons. Okay, you can name maybe 10 or 20 more, but not so many. It's not easy even for a still half-an-hour episode to be running just once per week. New one for 5 or 10 years. They get killed off. Even Friends, they will finish the episode. Season number 10. Why? Because it became too repetitive. You already know all the jokes of Chandler, all the Rachel and Ross gonna whatever marry at the end. Everybody knows this. Blah blah blah. So they killed it off. And Joey, the one which they were trying to put after, was Joey, the funniest character, did not take off. So entertainment, long time entertainment, not hit and run, but long time entertainment takes time. And even those James Cameron movies, Avatar 2, I bet is going to be fantastic. As Terminator 2, Titanic, True Lies. It just takes 7 years for each of those movies to be made. And I heard right now he's working on Titanic 2. That's going to be, it's a joke.
Wow, what I'm blown.
Yes, so in this entertainment, you have to understand we're taking the risk in terms of investing, putting resources, finding talent, moving to different territories for operations to entertain. Is it easy? No. Did we do everything perfectly during these 6 years? No. Did we do some amazing things during these 6 years? Not only the launch itself, but afterwards. Yes. So it's a never-ending story. Let's put it like this. Coming back to balance, just mathematically, it's a mess. Not because we wanted it to be a mess, or, you understand, there is no mathematical way we can release a shitty premium tank and, benefit from this. No, all those problems you described in balance are our problems, right? They don't make us smile. We understand that. But coming back to mathematically, 500 approximately tanks with dozens of characteristics, with dozens of maps, with already history of, me played 13,000 battles. Some things I already stopped liking, some of the things are repetitive for me. I'm bored of some things and I'm waiting for something exciting and new every day. If you put just mathematically all this complex system, plus people getting older and, in general, life outside this office and the game changing, with all this geopolitical crisis. Already World of Tanks saw at least 2 huge geopolitical crises in the world, plus there's Russia, Ukraine, and Syria, you name it, terrorist attacks. So it's a complex environment. Coming back to balance, it's not easy. We were trying to, okay, let's nerf artillery. It's easy to say, you can just press one button and there's no artillery in the game. There are some people who play it. If you nerf artillery, what happens? I'm just giving you examples. What happens? Tank destroyers become kings. Now everybody sits in the bush and just snipes. Okay. It's like any ecosystem, in nature. You kill a little bird, you destroy a little bird, and the whole ecosystem goes this way. You kill a little bug who was, the enemy of this bug and the food for this bird, and then this bird is extinct and this bug, grows big and just starts eating whatever trees. And it's not possible, we tried, it's not possible to solve all this single-handedly just fixing artillery or this or that tank. And we realized that as a company, and okay, Russia is, let's say, 1 year a little bit ahead due to historical reasons of that, and tension in Russia is much bigger than in Europe, in America. Yeah, also I forgot to mention there's dozens of millions of players playing the game, and if in the beginning it was easier for us and for the players because our audience was military history buffs, ex-military, those guys who would understand and love tanks in the first place, collecting plastic figures, reading the books, going to the museums. It was easy for them. It was the first tank game in their lives. Today, it's a good problem to have, but World of Tanks is this massive phenomenon with all possible layers of society playing it, from a little 5-year-old kid up to whatever kings and prime ministers and big businessmen, rich people, and all of them. Good news, you have to admit, we managed to create this ecosystem where they more or less coexist. And by the way, the game is about killing each other. It's not easy to make 20 million people coexist in a killing, quick kill environment, right? Where you can pay money and get a little bit of advantage or impression of advantage, and 75% of our population never pays anything. They keep playing. Just from the mathematical and business standpoint, this is a very, very complex environment which actually evolves, and we're not planning to kill it or to milk it and just forget about it. We are planning as a company to keep going for the next 20 years. Yes, certain methodology towards balance, towards gameplay mechanics, which we put inside the game 5-6 years ago, are still there. They need revision. This is what we are doing now. But again, please let me repeat. It's not possible. We tried a little bit here and there to take out a little bit of this, fix just this class or this map. It needs a complex approach. Yeah, I forgot to mention, esports, clan wars, competitive gaming, just for fun, over a glass of beer, gameplay with your son, with your buddies, or alone. Still, the majority of our people just play alone, right? And they don't watch esports and they don't take part in clan wars. Right now, I believe we are in a position to say that, hey, we realized this big time. As always, it would be better if we realized this a year ago. Okay, we cannot change the past. We realized this. We realized the criticality and severity of this, and we are working on this. The best people we have, and now analyzing through, big data analysis, this BI, business intelligence, this huge Oracle based kind of systems which analyze data, like petaflop up bytes of data. When you say our players like, unfortunately we cannot say our players like this tank. Yes and no. The reality is some people do like it. For example, if it has special role and requires special style of play, certain people who realize that, they do it and they play it and they love it. And those people who do not get it or were not patient enough to get it, they of course don't like it. So either leaving this tank or removing this tank will definitely upset for sure, this case, I mean, in this case, these people, in this case, that people. And one thing, and I'm going to finish this part. As a company, we don't we know this is already in our accounting books and analysis. We don't benefit from, let's say, getting extra $1 million or $2 million revenue during Christmas time by selling a shitty tank and then pissing off people. Economically, as business, we benefit from long term, we call it lifetime value. So just from the pure economical, from the pure cynical economical standpoint, we benefit much more from a person who, let's say, pays very little per month but stays for many years, rather than milking a whale for, I don't know, $200 and then losing him. And this is what we always knew this. There was the initial concept behind World of Tanks and World of Warships too. It's just the system mathematically is so complex that it takes rocket science approach to figure out which button to press, which things to change in this ecosystem to keep going on this lifetime, I mean, long life in the game value thing. Again, the fact that 75-ish% of people don't never pay is a good proof that we stay the course. Yes, we did some experiments with bundles. This is how consumer economy works in retail and in entertainment too. I mean, you get bundles on Netflix, you get bundles, you go to DVD shop and you get like 3 films, out of which you probably watch 1. Statistics for Steam says that 60% of purchased Steam games people never play. Why do they get them? Because they're sales, seasonal, these, that, you get bundles, you get franchises. It's a fact. So we are a business and we're trying to navigate this. But our philosophy from the top decision-making people, I can tell you, including myself, is long-time value. We'd rather have 5 years not paying at all, rather than getting pissed off, paying whatever $100, getting out of the game, and then going and spreading negative comments.
Even if your non-paying customers are happy, they're going to recommend the game
Yes.
to people who may be paying customers.
Yeah.
And they are part of the Battlefield ecosystem. So my answer, the short answer would be, we realize this. This is a big rocket science mathematical problem, challenge. It's like a mathematical challenge, and we are working on this. But please don't forget that what we managed to do well is this homogeneity through geography for the sake of competitive gaming and esports. We said, as a principle, the game should be the same all across the world, and our price point, this, is Russia-based, right? And Russia is not your richest country. Okay, there are a bunch of rich oligarchs in Moscow, we know that, but people who play are mostly, low GDP per capita, kind of third world, but it's Russia. It's not Germany. Yeah, kind of. when you take the whole population, so the price point is Russia-based. And we transformed this to China too. So US and US and Europe, I said, okay, our visionaries said that we need to keep the same Russia-style pricing. Because we could have for Europe and America, especially during the first year, because it was new and there was no competition at all, to just, X2 money. Why? Because GDP per capita is X2, X3. We did not do this. We stayed on the Russian level of monetization. So it's a complex ecosystem. It's not very easy to get the right solution just tweaking 1 or 2 little things. But our philosophy is this: long life in the game versus quick milking.
Well, I'm going to call a halt to proceedings here because, well, there's an hour and a half of this, so I'm going to edit it down into manageable chunks and upload the rest over the course of the next few days. I hope you enjoyed this discussion with Viktor Kislyi, Wargaming's Chief Executive Officer, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.